Hi students, it's Ms. Kiros. The other day I was thinking about how politicians like our president, other politicians from the past, whenever they speak, they're always trying to persuade us about something, either to convince us to vote for them or convince us to see their side of things. And I was thinking how important it is for us as readers and as American citizens that we're able to distinguish exactly what their purpose is when they speak to us. So that is a skill we're going to work on today. We're going to read a selection called All Bottled Up by Jody Mangor. We'll read it through the first time, and then the second time we'll really focus on what the author's purpose is and how she distinguishes herself from the other side. Around the globe, people are quenching their thirst with bottled water. Compared to sugary, caffeinated soft drinks, this seems a healthy choice. But is it a wise one? A single-serve water bottle offers great convenience. It can be bought almost anywhere, carried around for a while, and then thrown away. The impact of bottled water on the environment, however, is staggering. Approximately 2.7 million tons of plastic are turned into disposable bottles each year. This requires large quantities of crude oil and water. It also produces greenhouse gases. Bottled water is often shipped long distances to reach consumers, sometimes transcontinentally. This uses even more fossil fuels and creates more pollution. Although the bottles can be recycled, only a fraction of them are. The United States only recycles about 23%. The rest are part of a growing solid waste problem. Back to the tap movements are cropping up around the world. In order to save money, use fewer resources, and create less waste, they advocate using tap water and reusable sports bottles rather than bottled water. San Francisco and other cities across the United States no longer allow their governmental departments to buy single-serve water bottles. Cities in Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom are considering similar bans. Bottled water has become an international phenomenon. While it is an important source of safe drinking water, we should not lose sight of a more environmentally friendly source, the water that comes out of our taps. Wow, that was a lot of information about water. But I don't think the author was just trying to give me some random facts about bottled water. I think she has another purpose in writing this article. And I need to go back and figure out what is she really trying to tell me. To do that, I'm going to go back and look specifically at where the author is showing her point of view versus the other side. We're going to compare those two things to try and figure out what the author's purpose is and how that's different from the other side she's showing in this article. When I look back at the beginning of this article, I'm looking at some of the positive things the author said about bottled water. She points out that people can quench their thirst with water, that it's healthier than drinking soft drinks, and it's also convenient because you can carry it around, you can buy it anywhere, and throw it away when you're done. And water bottles can be recycled. In the last paragraph, she also points out that bottled water is an international phenomenon, which means it's being used all over the world. And she also points out that it is a safe source of drinking water. Now I'm looking back and I'm seeing the other side. I'm seeing the more negative things that this author has pointed out about bottled water. And I've highlighted those in orange so we can see them compared to the positive things she said in blue. She questions at first that even though bottled water might be a healthy choice, is it a wise or a smart choice? In the next paragraph, she starts to talk about the impact of bottled water on the environment and how that impact is staggering. How it is using a lot of resources like oil, water, fossil fuels just to create the bottled water. How it produces greenhouse gases and contributes to pollution. Can you find in the last paragraph another negative thing she points out about bottled water? See if you can pick out the sentence where she's really showing her point of view about bottled water. Yep, if you picked out the sentence at the end where she says we should not lose sight of a more environmentally friendly resource, the water that comes out of our taps, you're right. She's pointing out that even though there are some positive things around bottled water, and those are the things we see in blue, there's a lot of negative parts about bottled water she's pointed out in this article, and that's what we see in orange. She's really talking about the staggering effect bottled water has on our environment. Quick pop quiz. Why do you think the author wrote this passage? Take a look at the answer choices and see if you can figure it out. If you chose B, you are correct. She wrote this passage to show the environmental effects of bottled water. We know that because when we went back and picked out the negative parts that she talked about in regards to bottled water, all those orange pieces of information, we saw there was a lot more orange pieces of information than the positive blue. We also saw that most of that information was really talking about all the effects bottled water has on our environment, like creating pollution, using resources, and contributing to the waste problem. So remember, when you're analyzing the author's purpose, when you're reading a passage, remember to read the passage twice. First, just to get a general understanding, and then second, to go back and find the places in the text where the author is showing her side versus showing the other side, and you can compare those two things. Then you can ask yourself, what is the author really trying to tell me by pointing out her side versus the other side? Thanks for joining me today. I hope as you're reading your texts in class and you're listening to politicians speak to you on TV, that you are really able to distinguish their point of view so you can make your own informed decision.